But we have to wallahi understand, it's sad that a lot of us practice these haram things in the wedding when it's a moment where we should have shown a lot of obedience to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, because we're starting a marriage. The foundation has to be very, very strong. Like, you're starting now. If you've opened the doors of your marriage with haram, then you really think your marriage is going to stand? As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He says, the land which is good produces good vegetations, and the land which is filthy and bad is going to only produce that which is bad.
Now, if I want to marry a particular sister and, all the boxes are ticked, in many cultures, marriage is a huge fitna. Either they want a free mixing wedding, or music and whatnot. Is it acceptable for me to have the opinion that it's, let's say, impermissible for me to have a wedding, knowing that it's inevitable what's going to happen? So I make the decision not to have it. Rather, I deem it to be impermissible, knowing what's going to happen. What are your thoughts on that?
The issue of whether you should have a wedding is a disputed matter, whether it's wajib or not, based on the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he said, "Awlim walau bishah," slaughter even if it's a goat or a sheep. So definitely it's a highly recommended deed to do it. And so you can't close that door. Something that's recommended in our religion, no one has the rights to say, ala al-aqal, the other one says it's wajib, you have to do it. But another opinion is that it's what is recommended. So you can't come and make something that's recommended haram. But if a certain wedding, or this wedding that you're going to be having is going to have haram, because of her family preparing these haram things and putting these things, then you don't have to close the whole door of the wedding. You just have to stop that munkar from not happening, to prevent it. If it happens without your permission, and you fought it and you tried and you did it, then la yukallifu Allahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah does not burden a soul more than it can carry. That's not upon you. It's the people who did that sin. They're the ones that are going to take that burden with themselves on the day of judgment.
In a similar scenario, usually, let's say if it's a brother wedding, because in today's age, brothers sort of have more authority in their weddings than sisters, right?
Mm-hmm.
A brother can shut it down, say no, I'm not having it, case closed. But at the same time, the ties of kinship will be severed. Now, what do we do in this kind of scenario?
The way that you go about it is very important. So there's two things I want. Okay. Number one is that the ruling of Allah is above and beyond everybody. So the rule of Allah is above everybody. We obey Allah over everybody. لا طاعة لمخلوق في معصية الخالق. We can never obey the creation in the disobedience of the Creator. Allah is number one. So definitely haram is not going to happen under my watch, that's for sure. But how do I go about it is important. And how do I make sure it doesn't happen? I have to be very wise. I have to have a lot of wisdom. I have to put measures in place that inshallah ta'ala I don't allow, to the best of my ability, the severing of ties and kinship. I try my best. If it happens, and I tried and I exerted the effort, I use all of my effort and wisdom, then the rule of Allah is above and beyond everybody else. And if it angers and upsets others, then, as they say, it is what it is.
So I'm sure you've come across many scenarios, brothers and sisters coming up to you talking about how this is what's going on in my wedding and my family's like this. So we understand now the idea of the way we approach it is very important. But practically, how can we take that step based on just like some scenarios that you've been through, and how,
so a lot of the
generally
time,
speaking,
a lot of the time what's happening is that the brother, his parents are the ones that have paid for his wedding.
Okay.
Now they're going to choose what happens in that wedding.
Okay.
So if you don't want that things to happen, make sure that you were the one who brought the money for the wedding. Secondly, be part of the process of how that wedding is happening. If you've handed it over to somebody else and said you prepare the wedding, then of course that's what's going to happen. They're going to, and you know that person is not religiously grounded. Of course they're going to start doing all these stuff. So get control over it. If it's a hall, be the one to book the hall. If it is food, what is going to be served, be part of the process. Lead the process rather. So the chances of it is going to be very low. Yes, there happens a lot of the times that the girl's family want to get involved in those things. Again, you make it clear the boundaries that you want to set and that you're not going to allow. And if you've got your wife on your side, the girl you're going to get married to, she's on your side on this issue, and you and her are on the same page, both of you guys, it's very easy to get the family to conform with both of you guys. Again, when you're marrying, you selected the girl and her family together.
Correct.
You don't just get married to a girl by herself, as you should know. When you're marrying a girl, you're literally like getting her whole family into your relationship. So you need to pick the in-laws that you're having. What kind of people are they? So at the beginning, you selected, you handpicked, you chose this family. So you're not expecting, inshallah ta'ala, there to be haram things being done in the wedding. But if it does happen, which happens in a lot of cases, then get control. You get control of the situation by financially being the one that gets the hall and books the food and everything. If after that you've tried, you put all those measures in place and it doesn't happen, and haram is then conducted in the wedding, then you're not going to be, inshallah ta'ala, sinning. It's not upon you. Those people who did it are going to take that wizr, that sin is going to be on their neck. But we have to, wallahi, understand, it's sad that a lot of us practice these haram things in the wedding when it's a moment where we should have shown a lot of obedience to Allah ta'ala, because we're starting a marriage. The foundation has to be very, very strong. Like, you're starting now. If you've opened the doors of your marriage with haram, then you really think your marriage is going to stand? As Allah ta'ala, He says, وَالْبَلَدُ الطَّيِّبُ يَخْرُجُ نَبَاتُهُ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ وَالَّذِي خَبُثَ لَا يَخْرُجُ إِلَّا نَكِدًا. The land which is good produces good vegetations, and the land which is filthy and bad is going to only produce that which is bad. If the foundation is corrupt from the get-go, this is taking place, both of you guys are happy with it. Fast forward, what do you expect when children come into the picture?
So,
how do you want Allah ta'ala to take care of you, preserve your marriage for you, your children and your progeny? And here you are, your wedding is haram and the music is haram and there's free mixing going on. Of course, you've disobeyed Allah here and you want to be taken care of, and it doesn't work like that. And that's why you find a lot of weddings, they don't last long because of the fact that it was built on haram. Again, they can rectify it, repent from it, because the one who repents from it is like he's never done that sin in the first place. التائب من الذنب كمن لا ذنب له.
There's a few things that perhaps take place during that time. One of them being the mahr. What is expected from the sister, knowing yes, it is her right, and as well as the brother?
Mm-hmm. So what we have to understand is, number one, the issue, the mahr, the dowry of the woman, it's something that has no shar'i restriction on.
Okay.
And the Sharia hasn't capped it on something. And it doesn't say that this is the amount that can be giving, or this is the amount you should give, or this amount you can't give. This is what the ulama refer to as haqiqa urfiyya, meaning it goes back to the customs and the norms of the people. The Sharia, the religion, did not define what this word is in its application. So the word al-mahr, we know what it means, but we don't have any limitations. So a woman can ask for whatever she likes for her dowry. But what does the religion say? So she's allowed to. She can ask whatever she wishes. But what does the religion say? It says that the best of women is the woman who's what? Whose dowry is very little. She's the best. The woman who wants to get married to this guy and she puts her dowry down is the best of women. With that being said, a lot of men take advantage of that. Yes, this woman putting her dowry down and trying to get married to this brother in a halal way, it shows that this woman, taqwa and iman. What does a lot of brothers do from this? They take that and they take advantage of that situation. And what do? They take a woman and give her what is really not much. This is to get the woman value herself, feel like she's valued, she's appreciated, she's wanted. Of course, no one really restricts themselves to money. A woman's value is more than the mahr, la shak. But it gives her that feeling of I would pay this to be with you. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
The whole value is not restricted, of course, to the money, for sure. But the minute you throw something very small, and it gives that the feeling that you're this is how you are to me. So this should be capped by the culture and the customs of the people. It should be the thing to cap it. So if you're in a land where £1,000 is the mahr, £1,000 generally, so you should strike the balance there and make it 1,500, so 2,000, whatever it may be in that land. If the woman says 10,000 my mahr, you as a brother you have two options. You don't have to insult the girl, you don't have to ridicule her. She chose not to take what's best. She chose to take what she wants. She's entitled to that. You have two choices, Akhil Kareem. You want to marry her? Give the 10,000. You don't want to marry her? Keep it moving. So that's, again, it's her choice. It's her rights to choose what she wants and the amount that she wants. And it's for you, your choice, brother, whether you want to take it or not. And you have the rights to say, look, sister, I really do want to marry you. That's too much for me. I prefer this much. Can you do that? If she says, nope, I can't. A woman should take a mahr, and she shouldn't let a man marry her without any dowry. And also, I'm a father, to be honest. I have a daughter, and it wouldn't sit right with me if a brother came forward and he proposed to get married to my daughter for something, and he said, I'm only going to take this. Do you understand? It's
Yes.
offensive. A father will find that very offensive.